with that being said, hey everybody, welcome. Welcome back to the podcast. We're here to review Kinos' Journey again, and I'm going to be reviewing episodes 5 and 6. It's become a consistent thing. I'm just kind of curious because I'm also starting to see, before we get into this, I'm starting to see a lot more, and I mean a lot more, advertisement for the final season of My Hero Academia. I hope we make it. I'm not sure how many more episodes we got beyond this one. But I guess we'll see as we get further into the anime. And I am here with Spear, who is not talking for some strange reason.
Spirit Magic Helmet. There, I talked. You happy? Yes, Magic Helmet. And I will give you a sample.
Thought you were going on an entire thing there, and I was not about to stop you.
North wind blow, south wind blow, lightning, thunder, smack.
I want you to know, once you screamed smash, Discord cut you off.
I didn't say smash, I said smog.
Whenever you yelled it regardless, it cut you off. Like as you were saying the words.
I didn't yell. I went smash.
It did again. It cut you off. I don't know why Discord does that. It must have something to do with the voice settings, I'm guessing. I know Discord can
a little. Discord's a little shitty like that.
I know the Discord some settings where you can like that way it doesn't like, you know, scream in the other person's ears. It's just something that they've done. I guess with that, I'll hand the start of the discussion, not the entire discussion, because he doesn't like that. Start of the discussion back to Spear, and we'll go with his war and whimsy. I don't know why it's war or whimsy.
Today, joining us on this podcast is a special podcast guest. His name is Joel. He's a cat. Joel, would you like to say anything? He looked at me with meaningful eyes.
I'm pretty sure.
Does that count as saying something? Does that count as something when they look at you with meaningful eyes?
I don't know. I mean, I know they say that cats want something when they're doing that.
No, he just looked. He didn't. Why do people always go to cats being selfish? He's not selfish. He's a good boy. He was just telling me he loved me and that he wanted to cuddle me.
That's not what I was insinuating. I don't know why you jumped to that. I was just reading. I mean,
because you're like, he must be telling you that he wants. I said he looks at me with meaningful eyes, and you're like, well, the only meaning a cat can have in their eyes is that they want something.
That is not what I meant. Like I was just saying from the
videos
that is exactly
what you said.
Like from the.
That was verbatim.
That's not what I said. Don't you
said.
Put words in my mouth. I gotta gag on your words.
Get my words out your mouth.
All I was saying was that from the videos I've seen, usually like the way cats communicate that they want something is they look at you. Either they have to do something else. That's not them being selfish, even though those videos, like some of the videos do kind of like paint the picture that cats. From the videos I've seen, cats are mostly self-reliant, and and they only really, if they do want to cuddle, because some cats do, not all cats, but some cats are cuddlers. It's just, you know, not all cats require the attention of a human. What I've seen. I've heard all kinds of stories.
Well, this cat is a very good boy. And you know what he does?
Farts.
He purrs. And he farts. Yes, he does fart. And he looks at you with soulful eyes. And he chews on shit. How am I doing so far?
Well, you're asking me.
You're not going to answer me? Yeah, so I was checking in, making sure you thought I was doing good.
I don't know what you mean. Like
I didn't know if you were still
talking.
with me with this.
No, no, I am. I'm just like, I will say, I wasn't that I was tuning you out, but I was browsing a website.
You're browsing a website while I'm sharing my poetry with you?
I was listening.
What?
You telling me all the things you
What
know
the
about your cat.
actual? What the actual Farquad?
Listen here, you throwing Shrek stuff at me. Took me a while to realize that's what you were doing, because you've been saying that a lot over the course of the years I've known you. But I guess I never paid attention or paid that much attention to Shrek all that much.
Oh, I'm sorry. That'll do, Jeremy. That'll do.
You okay?
I thought you knew Shrek. I thought you knew Shrek stuff. I was going full Shrek.
Very little, very little. Like I think I barely. I know not the gumdrop button, and I only know that because I saw a scene.
Gumdrop buttons.
I saw that scene in passing. I don't know where I've seen it in passing, but I walked past it when that happened, and it was the weirdest thing because I remember the gingerbread cookie from the first movie was mostly just comic relief. See it there, trying to be scary, quote unquote, was the weirdest thing.
He wasn't trying to be scary. He was being tortured. He wasn't trying to be scary. It was a little innocent little gingerbread man being tortured.
Innocent. No one's innocent in that show. I mean, movie. No one's innocent. Even the dragon that Donkey had a family with isn't innocent. I don't even want to get into just logistics.
You know what the best part about this? You know what the best part about this Kino episode was?
Which one?
Episode 5, Country of Liars.
Oh?
Even more motor ads.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
It was so good. And then the next episode starts coming in with motor ads too. Like, it's just a world full of motor ads now.
I want to point out, because last week...
The whole series.
Last week you had brought up that they didn't say motor ad. I had to look this up because I wasn't sure what was going on with the English translation. Motor ad is just German for motorcycle. They just took the literal translation of the word and just said motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah. We got some Motorrad. Yeah.
I guess you knew that. I don't know why I thought you didn't.
Like that.
Well,
I didn't know. I just think saying Motorrad. I didn't know, but I think saying things with a German accent is funny.
I apologize to everybody from I almost said Brazil. I apologize for that mistake. I apologize to everybody in Germany.
Oh, our guy from Brazil? You're talking about him again?
Again, whenever you stop talking about him.
I haven't. It's been a minute since I talked about our viewer from Brazil. You just reminded me that it's been too long.
I guess I don't really have a problem.
It's been a long time since I talked about the guy from Brazil.
Man. And now it's not even that they're an automaton. They're a literal bike. He even goes, I don't even know if this is just the English translation of that scene where he's talking to her when he first meets Kino. He literally goes out of his way, and I feel like that was directed at me and anybody else who has a problem with him talking. It's like, don't you dare ask me how I'm talking or where my mouth is. I'm just like, that was on purpose. I felt attacked.
They probably heard our podcast.
I want this company to know I felt attacked. Like, don't you dare!
They probably heard our podcast and like. They probably heard our podcast where you ranted about it and thought we got to address this because they're probably going to review our show.
I'm still gonna rant about this. Not really. I gotten over Hermes. It just like when I heard the bike talk, it brought up old memories. Which is like, no, we're not doing this now.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing this now. We're not making another Motorrad speak. Also, I want to point out something just for you to start to review the episode. I have a question for you. What do you think?
This is the big part of the review. How excited I am about this this new Motorrad. They're starting to populate like crazy. We're seeing different models. We're seeing all sorts of stuff.
What do you think of Hermes' visual change? Well, apparently, Hermes did not look that way when he met Kino.
Wait, how do you know?
Because the episode where they first meet, I think it's the second episode. Like we're reviewing here.
You don't see that episode. That wasn't Kino.
No, I'm talking about when she was a little girl. When she was a little girl and she was in that slave. You're saying like, wait, so what? Wait,
that wasn't Kino. Her name is Photo.
I swear he named her Kino.
And the Motorrad's name is So, or S-O-U, Sue, or So.
That was Hermes. I don't care what you're saying, because they sounded they sounded 100% the same.
Wouldn't it stand to reason that the company that made Motorrads would give them all the same voice?
No, because there's another Motorrad whose voice is not like that. We saw in the previous episode. That was not this. That was not the same voice.
That was not Hermes.
Yeah, of course that wasn't Hermes.
That was Hermes.
Of course that Motorrad we saw in the thing wasn't Hermes.
There are three Motorrads. There are three Motorrads in the last two episodes.
And the last
two are different.
Those last two had the same voice.
Episodes 5 and 6. Yeah, they did, but they're not the same.
Those are the same. That is the hill I'm dying
on.
No, I'm dying on that hill. No, there's no way. There's no way.
It doesn't. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
You could change the chassis.
They say explicitly that the girl has no name. The girl has no name. And she goes to a village. Did you not see this part of the episode?
No, I saw it, but I was under the impression that was freaking Hermes telling the story, and that was him in the story.
You missed part of the episode. That's all I can tell you.
I watched it. I saw the very beginning of the episode.
No.
I saw the very beginning of the episode where like it was talking to the little girl. Well, no, correction. The very beginning of the episode, Kino was in the fog.
How can you have such poor listening comprehension?
I believe.
How can you have such poor listening comprehension about this?
So very episode, Kino was in the fog talking to Hermes, and they go in a flashback. Unless that was freaking Hermes telling her a story, which I don't remember him even offering to tell her a freaking story. I feel like they went right into that flash or that little that little section.
It's not a flashback. It's not a flashback.
I don't remember Hermes offering to tell her a story. For whatever reason, they just kind of went right into it. I'm just telling you, those two bikes are the same. The beginning one, no, but those two have the exact same voice. Oh. Those have the exact same voice. There's no other explanation for them having the same voice.
I don't know if they have it in the Japanese version. I don't know if they have the same voice in the Japanese version, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. Because typically they want to designate if they want in anything within fiction, if they want to disseminate two different characters, two different voices have to be used. Otherwise, someone's gonna assume that they're the same exact character in different points in life. There's no reason to give that bike that's with Photo a different voice. I mean, it's the same voice. There's no reason for it. Those are the exact same voice. I'm harping on this one because it's like the same voice. I mean, I want to let Photo.
I know it's the same voice, but
sorry, I'm going to let Photo go because like that. Obviously, I must have misinterpreted that. I'm not willing to
in this world, like I don't even know where to begin with you right now. In this world, it's an artificial voice. It stands to reason, even if it doesn't do it every single time, it stands to reason that that artificial voice could be used for two artificial things. Like they don't have to make a brand new artificial voice every single time.
I disagree, because like all you're really doing is, this is just me in general. I'm not trying to pick a fight with you. I'm just sitting there in my brain to prevent people from doing what I'm doing right now. If these are two different characters, they need to have two separate voices. I don't care what
Well,
fictional
they
world you're
didn't, and
in, they
it's
have
and,
to. It just
okay. Well, they didn't
prevents.
follow the German. Nobody checked with you, and nobody followed your rule.
This is like, there's no characters in any fiction that I've ever watched that have the same voice, because it prevents people from making the mistake that he's the same character. You can't do that. I mean, regardless if this is some fiction, I just feel like no fiction ever uses the same voice for characters, because you run into the problem of people thinking it's the same character. You can't do that. There's no way you can differentiate if they have the same voice, no matter if it's in English or Japanese.
Case in point with you being the problem right now, but still.
There's like no freaking way, because they have to. That doesn't make, because like I would agree with you. Here's the thing: I would agree with you on that one if that old Motorrad had the same voice in an older tone. As far as I can tell, when I listened to him, it sounded like a totally different voice, just older. It didn't sound like the same voice that Hermes had. I would agree with you if it was an older, gruffy version of Hermes' voice. And I listened to both of them too. They don't sound any what similar, even if Hermes was older.
It's just simply not true. There's no way.
I don't, like, the voices are too freaking similar, like almost 100%. There's no other explanation for that. And it's not like they couldn't have changed Hermes' body. And it's not like he couldn't have, if he did know photo, it's not like he couldn't have left her. Well, I mean, he's a bike, so they couldn't. Still, he couldn't have like left him someplace. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't make any sense for the same voice actor to be playing two different characters in the same scene. Because again, like, if that voice actor is going to do that, he or she should have used two significantly different voices. At least that way there's a conversation going on, whatever have you, that was going on in that scene. Because again, it's causing the issue I'm having right now, where those two sound alike, and I'm assuming they're the same character.
It's not the same character. It's a little tiny Motorrad owned by a different character than Kino, who I think they deliberately made to look similar to Kino and make you think about Kino, so that might be the reason that it's so similar from like a narrative standpoint. Yeah. I think they want you to think. I think he wanted you to think this character was Kino.
I'm not arguing that it wasn't her. I'm not arguing that that's not that.
The slave girl is not Kino.
That Motorrad, I'm telling you.
But I think they wanted you to think it was Kino for a little while. Because at the beginning of the episode, I'm like, is this Kino? Because she's not in the whole episode.
I'm not saying
they might have made the Motorrad with like a similar voice, just to emphasize how much it was like Kino.
That Motorrad's supposed to be a different character. You need a different voice. Yeah, I'm harping on that now.
Okay, but it didn't do it, and yet it's not. And yet it's still a different character.
I'm sorry, I'm not buying it.
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
I'm just saying, like, I'm sorry. There was no distinctness between these two characters' voices.
There's no ambiguity.
To me, there is.
There's no ambiguity about it. They tell you exactly what happens with Photo. That she lives her life happily ever after with her Motorrad.
I'm looking this up now, with the voice actor is not credited towards that Motorrad. That the one I'm saying their voices is similar, which is weird, because that means another person voiced Soul, I think is whatever you calling it. Dumb dinky motorhead. Now I'm having a complex. Thank you.
That's funny. It wouldn't matter though if it was the same voice actor.
Only right now that freaking thing is a freaking. What is this? No, that's not it.
You're so tweaked.
Yes. These bikes do it to me every freaking time. The darn bike again. What the heck? Like I'm just telling you, that voice should not be similar. Either I'm wrong that the voice isn't similar, but I'm telling you, I'm hearing it, and they sound similar.
Can't you just be right that the voice should not be similar and agree that it is nonetheless similar?
No, because if I do that, then like I'm like that's the same bike, and then you're saying I'm wrong. We run into the situation anyway.
Why would it be the same bike?
He's telling the story, and it could just be him, like him in the past. Like again, if these are supposed to be bikes, people change. People can change drastically, mind you. People can change drastically the look of a car. Cars aren't exactly, and bikes aren't exactly static.
Why would you do that, dude? And how did Kino get it if the story outright says that she had it for the rest of her life?
I don't know. It's just for me, like that. Their voice should trip me up.
With the bike and Photo on the bike lived happily ever after in that little village, where she was a photographer from that day forward.
Maybe
so. How did Kino get the bike and then completely overhaul it until it was a completely different vehicle that looks almost nothing like the other one, except that they're both motorcycles?
The motorized could have been transferred to person to person. Nothing saying a motorized can't have more than one traveling companion. And like to answer the question, the other part of the question, how he got there, possible that maybe she got killed. This world doesn't seem all that keen on not killing people.
And then also Kino gets there like a few minutes after she leaves and sees everybody dead there. Like Kino arrives on the scene after she's left.
I'm not arguing that I was wrong with the girl in the cutscene. Like that, honestly, that like probably makes more sense about what was going on in there, because I was very confused. Because I was like, wait, didn't Kino come from a village that she was supposed to be a freaking maid of? I could have sworn that you told me that. I was like, what's going on here? Did they change her background? So the fact that that's actually a photo that we were watching makes way more sense.
Kino was an innkeeper, not a maid.
Sorry. But then the bike is what I'm really happy because like they just sound freaking similar, and that's really bugging me.
It's not that remarkable that AI voices would sound similar.
I think you're wrong. Because even AI, if they were going to give AI, if AI was being used and whatever you're going on, I feel like a robot, like I feel like a scientist would make the voice different. Because again, you don't want to run into like you thinking one AI is a specific AI. Like that's the only way you can. If the AI doesn't have a body, the only other way to to be able to disseminate between AI is a voice. That's why Siri and Google Gemini don't sound the same.
Those are different companies, though. It's possible that two of them are made by the same company, and the third one was made by a different company.
But still, why make that? You're gonna run into an issue where you're gonna confuse the AI.
But the AIs aren't confused.
I'm not talking about confusing the AI. I'm talking about people running in talking to an AI. Like you could literally accidentally call one AI the wrong thing. And these AI.
Did you ever watch the movie Bicentennial Man? That must have fucked with you.
No, I don't think I've ever even heard of Bicentennial Man. Hold up.
It's Robin Williams, isn't it?
Again, I mean, I don't really think I watched much of Robin Williams in it. Maybe Aladdin, but that's probably the most.
Well, Bicentennial Man's about a world where androids are real.
I really hate that. I really hate that poster. Oh god, that's the story.
What?
No, I looked it up.
What you looked at?
Yeah, I looked it up. I don't like it.
All right. Well, anyway, in that world, androids are real, and Robin Williams plays one, but all the androids just are the same. And they're the same by design because it makes people feel safer around them, knowing that they're predictable. Because Robin Williams' android is different, and they want to get rid of him because he's different.
Are you telling me that you had the same voice?
Yeah.
Hey, why does it seem like just another version of Pinocchio? Huh.
It's an interesting take.
I mean, he says this like Andrew Martin, Robin Williams is Andrew Martin, an NDR, android servant of the Martin family that seeks to become human. It's kind of the same thing with like Pinocchio. He wants to become a human boy. Like on like I'm not saying deeply in the movie that's what they're trying to go for. I'm just saying like on the surface, you know, like something that's not human wanting to become human. Pinocchio and this one kind of seem similar.
Yeah. I don't think it's out of the question to say it might be a little Pinocchio inspired.
I just personally, wait a minute, let me. You can, I guess, continue on after I derailed you. I'm just gonna look something up with this anime. That episode's really bugging me.
Well, we need to come to some sort of consensus about this.
I don't think we really do. I think we can talk about it.
It's fundamental to the plot. It's like we weren't even talking about that episode. Like, we're gonna talk about them out of order now, I guess.
No, we can go back talking about. I just want to look something up. I just want to see if whoever that voice is credited, because like I would just chop it up to this was the same actor and they were just lazy and didn't want to change the voice. Is what my consensus will come down to.
It could be lazy, or it could just be like save money.
But that just bugs me because they're two different characters. They're two different characters. Give them two different voices. Sorry, it's just I really, when it comes to characters, I like them to be different enough so that way I'm not running into a situation, and like it's simply having different looks isn't enough if the voices are going to be the same. I don't mind hearing the same voice in different anime, but the same voices in the same freaking anime, I feel like there's an issue there that should have been resolved. So culture is wonderful, which funds it, all visitors must participate in better. Wait, what? This isn't the right anime. What the heck? This is the old Kinos. Then the spirit preferred. Where's the new one? Oh, there is no even listing of the new episode.
Where are you trying to find the listings of the episodes? Wikipedia has it.
Wikipedia only has the list of the old episode, the ones
That's
from
not
the
true.
remake. I mean,
That's
I'm
not
looking.
true.
I can't seem to find it because I'm looking. It keeps bringing me to the manga page. Why did I just 2017? Hoping I have to do that.
Yeah, I'm on Wikipedia right now, looking at the list of episodes and seeing the new ones. Here, I'll show you the link just in case you're not looking at the right thing.
That's the old box art.
It is the old box art, but the new episodes are in there.
When I get to episode 6, it's talking about the Coliseum. That is not the episode 6. Oh, I had to
They
go
show the
further
old
down
and the
there.
new episodes.
I had to
They
go-
show both the old and the new episodes.
I had to go further.
What are you doing?
I was just reading, but I was hoping to get a English voice for that character, voice actor. I'm not listening. Don't know. Find it.
See, even in the summary on Wikipedia, it says Kino and Hermes later arrive after Sue is gone. Even in the episode summary.
I'm more interested in the voice versus. I just want to personally know who I gotta blame for this. Not that it really matters that much to anything, but I just like, to me, like, that's dumb and lazy. They shouldn't have. This character should have not. This voice actor shouldn't have done what they did.
Probably just AI slop.
Greg Ayers, huh? Do you even go it? Do you even voice actor anything I watched before? But you have. Sorry if I sound a little jaded right now. Just like this. You're kidding me. He was in Fullmetal Alchemist. Why isn't he? I hate that it just might just been lazy. That's so dumb. Either that or he copied him, but that shouldn't have. Why the voices shouldn't have been so similar.
But like I said, I think it's intentional. I think that they did it because Kino was. They wanted you to think of Kino when you saw the slave.
That messes with the whole idea of different characters in my brain. It just not that it's
Because
not,
Kino is. Kino is kind of an orphan too. Not by. I think strict definition of orphan is your parents are dead, or what is the strict definition of orphan?
I gotta look that up when you were asking the question. But I got you.
A child whose parents are dead. It says straight out. So Kino is not by definition an orphan.
There's like are unknown or permanently abandoned them, so they don't have to be dead.
To death, abandonment, or desertion. Okay. Then yeah, Kino is an orphan, and so is she. And they both are people that are traveling. You know, they're not. He's not a traveler exactly, but they're traveling because she's traveling with a caravan. There's a motor ad involved in both of them. They didn't have to put a motor ad in there, you know. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't have to be a motor ad at all, but they added one. So they did it for a reason. So she's a traveler. She is an orphan, and she's trapped there. And in episode 2 of the original Kino's journey, if you remember, there was also, like, Kino was almost sold into slavery, remember? And when she opens up the door in the episode 2 of the original Kino's journey, a girl floats out that looks a lot like is probably this girl. So I think it's a reference to that. Do you know what I'm talking about in the original Kino's journey?
No, I barely remember.
Um, let me see if I
Believe
can
you,
quickly
I'm
find
just
her.
like,
When she opens up the back of the van, because she finds it. Remember, she finds a traveling um, caravan there.
I barely remember the original watch, man. Like I already told you before, like when I was watching the original one, I think I was just watching it to get through it.
Yeah. A ghost comes out in the original anime. I'm gonna try to find this still. It shouldn't be that much work to do it. The original Kinos Journey is not on Crunchyroll, unfortunately. Ooh, here it is. It's a bad still of it, but just for some reason, it's a free still, so I'm gonna go with it because it's fast. She opens up the back of the caravan when she was saving those 3 guys from starvation that then try to capture her at the end and make her a slave. When she opens up the back of a caravan, this ghost comes out and flies straight through her before it disappears, and that's the ghost right there flying through her in that still. I just got lucky, and there was a still with part of the ghost in it. Do you see it in Discord?
I see it. Weird.
Yeah, and the ghost reminds me of this girl a little bit. Like, I think it possibly a reference. It's also worthwhile to note that I looked up a little bit of info about. Did a little research online about this episode. This episode is not in the manga in its current form. It merges content from 3 chapters of the light novel, volumes 3, 12, and 15. So it very well could be the caravan episode that's featured in episode 2, the original. Could be the same caravan they have here, or part of the same country. You know what I mean? That they're going back to for the coming back alive party or something like that. And they could be the same slavers from episode 2 in the original, just from pulling from the same source material. But because this episode is a combination of 3 different volumes, it might not look exactly the same. So that could be the same girl reference that was in the back of that van. Or back of that carriage, because it would have been the same thing. They would have both been carriages. Like horse-drawn carriages that, bring things with them. Anyway, so you've got a girl, a young girl, and a motorrad, just like with Kino. You have a traveler, and you have Kino showing up briefly afterwards. The girl vaguely looks like Kino. I think they're trying to make you think that this might have been Kino's origin story at the very beginning. And for a good portion of it, I think they want you to think it's Kino's origin story, which is probably why you're confused, because it's confusing.
I would just prefer this voice actor not to have been like in anything that I've watched or kind of prominent. I think my big area. I think my bigger issue is like the voices are the same. I feel like this might be just lazy. And I know this isn't a big deal. Just for me, it's bugging me because this actor is in stuff I watched, and like it's very good stuff he's been in. The guy is apparently in My Hero Academia on the English dub. Like it was just.
Who's he playing My Hero?
I think OG. Hold up. I was just looking at it. Like this guy is not a bad voice actor by any means. In a lot of things, it just it bugs me that either he was told to do this or he just had a bad. It just bugs me. That's in One Piece, for crying out loud. Dragon Ball Z. Koji Koda. I think it's that little kid, isn't he? I do not know who Koji. Oh no, he's the guy with the really misshapen head that when his quirk achieved
And
evolution.
he calls the animals, right?
He talks to animals.
That's why we don't recognize his voice, because that character barely talks. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I thought that character's thing was that he doesn't talk for a while.
He's Frost in Dragon Ball Super.
Interesting.
He's apparently Goldo.
Well, of course you'd want to use him twice. What a fantastic voice actor! I'd use him as almost every role in the anime if it was my voice actor.
It just bugs me. I legitimately am kind of ticked. Like, more so than I would be for Hermes and Tim talking. He's not a bad voice actor. It's just, for me, they should have given show a different voice. Even with the whole imagery thing, because at least what you would have said is like, why does Hermes sound different? If especially that's not Hermes, why does he sound different? I would have preferred that more in general than the similarity between the voices, because that ticks me off. Because again, it's confusing, and it's like, to me, it's like, if you want him to be a different character, don't have him sound alike. There's no reason behind it. There's no reason for it. Even if it is for imagery's sake, it's like, sorry, just a fight again. Continue. I'm gonna sit here.
You're fun.
Listening.
All right, well, we're doing the episodes out of order because we've already talked about this one for like 45 minutes. Episode 6 is called Beyond the Clouds and also called Eye Opener. I'll read the summary from Wikipedia since I have it up, and then we won't have to go blow by blow through the whole episode, but I'd like to read the summary and then kind of go back to some highlights. The summary is 2 merchants accompanied by a caravan set up camp in a mountainous region where they mistreat an orphan female slave purchased from a religious country in exchange for goods. I don't remember the religious part. That's interesting.
I
guess it makes sense.
No, they literally say it in with the way she acts, with photo acts and everything, when she says it's very religious.
I remember her saying, "I'll follow the laws," and I believe that my leader was good, but I didn't realize. I thought it was political, like that she believed her for political reasons. Your leader, like,
yeah, I think about political, but at the same time, they like the dudes that mistreat her. They one of them, the older dude that she shoots at the end, he brings up that a priest or something gave her over to them because they couldn't afford the pay, something like that. So that she was payment for what they couldn't pay for. It was like basically a priest, like, it was like a church religion. She even brings up like it's her belief system.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what she basically comes out. Not basically. She does say some things that lead to believing that whatever's going on in her hometown, but the basis of it is religion. We'll continue. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Despite this, the slave does not resent their behavior, as people in her country were taught to respect others. As the travelers eat their soup, the slave realizes that some picked herbs are poisonous, but is unable to warn them in time. A young master throws a stone at her, spilling her soup to the ground. Feeling helpless, she wails in anguish, causing the travelers to die from food poisoning? I don't think the whale caused them to die. That's a weird way of putting it. However, the older merchant barely survives as he feels sympathetic for her, eventually unshackling her and tricking her into taking his life. In one of the trucks, a small motor scooter named So, calls out to the slave, consoling her over the deaths of the traveler and telling her to live rather than die. Kino and Hermes later arrive, and Kino deduces the nature of their deaths from the poisonous herbs growing nearby. Years later, Sue reveals the unnamed slave was able to let go of her past, struck it rich, and became a photographer, now named Photo. I know they pull these episode summaries from the real canon ones that are provided with the episodes themselves, but I know that the wail in anguish came at the exact moment the travelers died, but it's...
Dude, I think you're misinterpreting the sentence.
The sentence is a contradictory within itself. She wails in anguish, causing the travelers to die from food poisoning, not from the whale. Feeling helpless, she wails in anguish, causing the travelers to die from food poisoning. That's just a bad sentence.
Also, this is people right translating from Japanese, and then people that are not well versed in it. I don't know if it's a bad sentence per se. Maybe it's a bad translation.
It only appears in Wikipedia. Maybe I'll go back in and edit that later.
But what I want to say,
I thought they pulled it from. I thought they pulled it specifically from, like an official episode summary.
No, what I want to say, really, I mean, this sentence could easily have been a person who saw the episode and that's what they thought. But I can honestly sit there and say it kind of probably was kind of like not a direct result of her wailing, because what happens is when she does that and she screams, everybody gets agitated and they want to get up and do something about her, and that's when they all fall over. Now, I'm not saying that they died from her wailing, but what I'm saying is that them getting up is what jostled whatever was in the food, because they weren't before they started moving, or try to move, I should say, before they started trying to move, nothing was wrong with them until they started trying to move. The moment they tried getting up is when they fell over and all died and killed over. For some strange reason.
Right.
I don't completely understand why the poison only worked on them when they started trying to move. That's a really weird... That was really weird in my opinion. It was probably the worst way to try to get an emotional response out of the viewer, but it is what it is. It just seemed kind of weird.
I mean, it was a cool spooky moment. Like, I don't want to play down that it wasn't a cool spooky moment, because it was very spooky, and I really liked that about it. And I think a superstitious person that had seen that would say that, that the whale had something to do with it. But I think realistically, when you die from food poisoning, you die from food poisoning.
But what I want to counteract that is just...
it's a very stylized death anyway. People that die of food poisoning don't just flop over and die. It takes a long time. It's not a very pretty thing to die of food poisoning.
Here's the thing. Even though they did kill over when they only killed over when they got up. It's possible that it was just acting in them, and they didn't notice that they were dying until they started moving. I know that's a bad explanation for what happened there, because it was really weird. It was really weird, and I can deny that. Whatever happened there was really weird.
I mean, you're stretching a little bit. I mean, we know that having some food poisoning, also it's not food poisoning as well, because they said they died of food poisoning. That's also not food poisoning. That's not what food poisoning means. But
there's poison in their food, though. How's that not food poisoning?
You're being poisoned, but food poisoning refers to bacteria. Like when you've eaten food that's poisoned with bacteria, not food poisoning. I know it sounds like that, but it's a bad translation.
Wouldn't that weed be still covered in bacteria? I'm just saying that I feel like you can still use the word food poisoning here, because they ate and then they had a bad time. I understand usually food poisoning usually results in diarrhea, but still.
Oh my god, we're gonna have this debate now too?
No, I'm just saying that I feel like, considering that it was in their food.
Food poisoning, or foodborne illness, is an illness caused by eating contaminated food containing harmful germs like bacteria, viruses, or parasites. It's not from eating poisoned food. That's separate.
What is that? What would you call putting a weed like that? Because I don't know what I forget what she called it.
They were poisoned. They ate poisoned food and died. They didn't die of food poisoning. I know it's an awkward name for it when you think of it that way, but food poisoning is not a death by poison. It's just a colloquial term for something that's not the smartest way to name it.
And I'm too tired to fight this. I'm still upset about the freaking voice actor thing. I don't have the energy to fight you on this.
kind of good. Like, I didn't want to fight about something. I'm positive about both of those things, and we had a huge battle about both of them. Like, we've had some that I'm like, okay, it's a matter of opinion or something, but like, that was not Hermes, and that's not what food poisoning means, and that's just, it's not ambiguous.
That's dumb. They should have different voices. I'm still on that because that's not how you make character to.
But I
I'm
think
sorry.
the show wants you. I'm not saying it's a good choice, but the reason I think they did it is because the show wants you.
That's dumb.
That's that it's.
That's my response.
I think the show until the very end wants you to be not entirely sure if that was Kino or not.
Oh, dumb. They could have done that there's plenty of ways that they could have done that. The voice. I'm sorry. It's just. There are decisions that they could have made, and that was the wrong one in mind. Whatever, people can say I'm wrong all they want. I'm just saying that's not how you. That's a different character. They need to have a different voice to make that clear. I don't care if if this was supposed to be some like rug pull, like that's not how you. I'm sorry, that's dumb. That's dumb. I know it's a dumb thing to harp on. I'm not even fighting that. I'm just saying, for me, that's a thing to harp on.
All right. Well, since we're moving on, can I bring up my dumb thing that I harped on when I was watching this?
Oh boy, I would love to hear this because I was watching the episode, trying to find something. I couldn't find anything.
There was something here that triggered me too, and it's a stupid little thing, but it bugged me. When Kino gets there after Sue has left, do you remember that Photo and Sue have left? Do you remember that Sue advises Photo that she should take stuff from one of the trucks and pack it into the other because obviously they're not going to be needing it? Mm-hmm. When Kino gets there, you can clearly see both caravans there.
Well,
implying either she intentionally left everything behind for no good reason, which is annoying, or because there's no one to steal from. It's not stealing. It's just like giving yourself your best chance.
Not in her eyes. Because like, here's the thing. This is a dumb thing. I'll let you have it, but what I want to specifically with Photo, the entire episode. There was various situations that she had the right to, retaliate, but she didn't because she was still underneath. You could consider it brainwashing. I don't know. She was still a very religious girl, and she still believed in a lot of what
they say. Those Catholic girls start much too late. Sorry.
She's a very
sooner or later it comes down to fate.
She's a very
only the good die.
I'm doing it.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, you're right. She's a very religious girl, and no matter what, because you see this in the entire episode. But I think it's a really good job if that's what actually happened. Is she definitely didn't leave that behind? That's actually really funny to me and in a good detail. But like, she spends the entire episode fighting against. Well, obviously, she has the right to retaliate. They even tell her this throughout the entire episode that she has the right to be angry at them. They took her from her home. She should hate them. She doesn't. Like when they die from being poisoned, they're like, she should be relieved, right? Because like they were horrible people. Everybody there treated her like complete garbage. Not the handmaids, but like the women that were preparing the food. To the dudes doing whatever the heck they were doing. I don't know what they were doing. But the bodyguard and whatever, like even in the bodyguard, after everybody else died, she wanted to kill herself because she felt like she committed a sin. And she talked to the because the old dude, the dude who was probably the nicest to her, the old gentleman, like he was like wondering, like he realized he didn't eat as much as everybody else did, so that's why he survived. And then it was like, he wasn't even all that concerned. I thought he was gonna like turn on her when he realized everybody else is dead, and he was gonna blame her for the food poisoning of the food, but he didn't. And on top of that, felt sympathy, was very confused as to why she wanted to die, and she explained herself, and he was just going to kill her. Taught her how to use a gun, and inadvertently killed himself in the process. She still felt like she committed a sin there, and she still wanted to die when Sue was talking to her and asked him what was the ultimate way to kill herself. She spent the entirety of the dang episode thinking she committed a sin. She very religiously followed the teachings of her village to the core. So if she didn't steal, quote unquote, steal from those people, she did it because it went against her convictions. Even if they were dead, there was really nobody to steal from. I don't know how you rationalize that, because there's still people that was their stuff. Granted, yes, they're not going to use it, but whatever. For her, it was still stealing. She didn't want to do that. That's how I'm going to take it. That could easily have been an animation error. Who the heck knows? Because they definitely did say that later on she was rich, which is really interesting. It doesn't sound like she got rich from being a photographer, so I don't know where she got the money from.
I don't know. It kind of actually struck me that she did get rich being a photographer. Because it didn't say she was rich, it says she got rich.
I don't know if it was from her photography. I'm not saying that it wasn't. I'm just saying.
Well, how else would it be?
I don't know.
Because she got rich, so she wasn't rich when she arrived. She got rich.
Maybe she did something else, and maybe photography is just a hobby of hers. I don't know.
Maybe that slave thing became sort of a kink thing.
Okay, we can move on with your next part of the episode. I was just saying, like, as an aside to her, you can still be mad about it. I'm just saying, like, it's as an aside to why she didn't do it. If there was a legitimate reason, I feel like the entire episode did a good job of giving us a legitimate reason.
You know what I liked about her character though in that situation? That guy, the one slaver that was like less awful to her than the other ones, I think he saved her life in more than one way. I think he saved her life by obviously removing the shackle. You know what I mean? The chain, so that she could move around freely. But I think he also saved her because she saved him. Like, she brought out a little bit of good in him. Like, despite his big words to her about how horrible people are, she was able to get him to take pity on her, and like, he was able to take pity on her, and he saved her life when he didn't have to. He could have everybody treated her like crap. They threw stones at her and everything, beat her for whatever reason they felt like beating her. But she brought a little something out in him that wasn't there before, and he felt compelled to save her life. You know what I mean? Someone that was, like, to a ridiculous extreme, considered worth nothing in this series. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I think the fact that she brought out some good in him, I think, helped her retain her sanity a little bit. You know what I mean? He saved her life, but I think he also saved her mind.
Yes, I still think she wanted to kill herself. So at some
point, do too, but that's what I mean. She wanted to kill herself. But when, like, he came in, like, there was a little bit of a kindness there, but she, like, I think she's the reason that he showed that a little bit of kindness. I think he was brought in by, he was like, this is not a bad person. And even though he was dying, and he was in great pain, he took a moment from his great pain to do something selfless. And say, you know what I mean? Like, he was in great pain. He didn't have the strength to lift his arms to shoot the gun. And he still said, I'm going to take a moment while I'm in this great pain and I can't wait to die, to remove the collar. And his reason to her was, this might make it easier for you to use the gun. But obviously it didn't make any difference. So I don't know. I liked that. I liked that she got a little bit of redemption that way. You know what I mean? She got her way with someone and like was actually able to make the world a better place to some extent. What do you think?
Really shooting him make the world a better place?
No, not shooting him, but the fact that she brought that out in him, that he saved her. You know what I mean? Like that she brought out something in him that made him decide he was going to save her. Made her, helped her save one person a little bit, and I think the fact that she had an impact on at least one of those people probably helped her save her sanity, and working with Sue, you know, with Sue's recommendation, gave her something to hold on to. For a character like that, I think it was great comfort to her that like she had that moment with him where he actually decided he would do something kind for her. I mean, think about it. Seconds before that, when she screamed and she had that snapping moment, the little kid was like, I wanna beat her until she's black and blue, and then I wanna shoot both of her legs so she can't move, and then I'm gonna split her stomach open and gut her. And he's like, yes, that's a good idea, my son. You're gonna be a man. I'm proud of you for wanting this so early in your life. I thought you wouldn't be ready yet. Blah 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 blah. And then she screamed, and they all dropped dead. You know what I mean? I think that scream was like horror a little bit at, you know what I mean, what these people have become. And I think having that moment of humanity, even though it wasn't like a really great one, I think having that moment of humanity was just enough over the line where she was able to recover her sanity. Like she was having a rough time for sure, but I think that helped her recover her sanity and think, you know what, maybe like I was right after all. Like at least some people can turn out to be not completely unredeemable.
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. She saw redeeming qualities in any. I guess the older gentleman, yeah.
The what?
The older gentleman, the dude that didn't treat her like complete crap. I guess I just didn't see after him dying like that, even if he did save her, as like her being redeeming a redeemable quality. And
Well, he had been drawn into her. First, he was taunting her. Moments before, he was like, "Aha! You must really hate us. You must wish we were all dead." And her answers had an impact on him. She's like, "I don't wish you were dead. Like, I would never do that." And you know, she's like, "And I would never hurt you or do anything terrible to you. You know what I mean? No matter what, even if it meant I had to die." And I think that the fact that that was sincere, despite the fact that he was in the middle of tormenting her and she was a slave and they'd been treating her like terrible and she smelled bad and was living a horrible life, I think that sat with him at least long enough to come back around there, where he was like, she was like, you know, it just happened a minute ago. You know what I mean? And I think it sat with him. You know what I mean? I think it brought that out in him because he was no better than the other people at the very beginning of the episode. He might have had more potential, but he was behaving as poorly as the other ones until that happened.
I'm not gonna. I mean, I can't. I was gonna say, like, I'm not gonna argue. Like, I can't argue, but I just like, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking about what happened after the fact, and she still kind of wanted to feel very suicidal. Like, only so, or whatever his name is, kind of convinced her to keep.
Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I think Sue had such an impact on her is because he was sort of a slave too. And we see that driven home. Like this episode's a good continuation from the previous one that we're going to talk about in a little bit, because in the previous one, it's even more clear that the Motorrad, even though it has a consciousness, is not considered like a full thing deserving of the rights of a human being. It's not treated like a human. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, you're a display piece now. You're a thing. And oh, haha, it never talks. It must be asleep or something. But when that Motorrad finally finds someone that might be relevant to him, he's like, yeah, I've got some stuff to say. You know, kill me. Please get me out of here. If you can't get me out of here, please smash me. And she says, you know, like, well, if I do that, I'm going to get smashed too. And he's like, okay, I see what you mean. And Hermes is like, well, and also I need her to drive me out of here, not you. He's like, all right, understandable. You know what I mean? My life is hell, but there's nothing you can do about it. And he stops talking to me again. But there is that like the fact that they have a Motorrad followed by a Motorrad, which is kind of weird, is made more interesting by the fact that they have a story. You know what I mean? That like this Motorrad is like, it's a good little preamble to the fact that this Motorrad is a fellow slave along with her. And he's like, you know, it's not just you, like we're both free, you know, like not to put too fine a point on it, but like we're both free now. And like, if you wouldn't mind freeing me, helping me get free, because I can't free myself right now, it would be really great for both of us now that since you decided to live and all. And yet Sue had that moment too where he didn't lead by begging me like, if you die, I'm gonna be stuck here forever and I'm gonna die. He's said like, you know, maybe I can help you look at this a little more reasonably and decide to live. And once she decided to live, he's like, well, since you're gonna live, maybe you could save me too. Which was kind of an interesting take, you know what I mean? That even though the situation was just as desperate for Sue as it was for Photo, he was like not willing to beg for his life so much as like be like, you know, there is something to live for here. But I think the fact that it was a slave talking to a slave helped level it with her a little bit. Just like when she was talking to the dying guy, at that time the dynamic was the dying talking to the dying. He was like, he talked to her, and the understanding was that she was going to kill herself and he was going to die. But then it didn't work out that way, did it?
No, it didn't.
But there was still that moment. At the moment that they were talking, the understanding was, on her mind, was that they were both about to die. So it was the dying talking to the dying, and he gave her one step towards deciding to live, and then Sue gave her that second step towards time, like deciding to live, when it was a slave talking to a slave now.
I mean, I got nothing to say or add.
Why not?
Not really much to say or add. I mean, and this is like just I'm not being indignant about it. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. There's not really I can say. I think you summed it up better than I could.
But I also like that the profession that she picks when she does go off on her own is photography, where she like can share her happy view of the world and make a living out of it. You know what I mean? This optimism that she's capturing happy moments. Like you see her in the last moments of animation with that couple, where she keeps the camera on them and doesn't take the picture until they're both looking at her and smiling. And you know what I mean? She's waiting for the moment that she wants to share with the world. And that's what she does for a living now, is like shares her worldview, even at the same way that she did it, you know what I mean, so powerfully as a slave. So a very poetic ending in a lot of ways. There was a lot of like awfulness to like watch your way through. Like it wasn't a very pleasant episode to watch, but it paid off really well at the end.
I think she got her happy ending. Still. Oh, the boy.
Oh my gosh. You're so pedantic sometimes.
Listen, characters mean to me. They sound the same, they lose the value, but continue. Back one for this. I mean, I probably wouldn't. I probably was gonna go back to it. Probably wasn't gonna go back to it. Not really, but going back. Oh well. You haven't talked about episode 5 yet, right? That's what we'll go to.
Yeah, I was just waiting until we cover this one.
All right.
That's all my notes on this episode. I thought it was a really good episode. I thought was more enthusiastic about episode 6 than I was about 5.
Episode 6 wasn't bad. I mean, once you remove the voice from everything.
There was things about episode 6 that I thought were just a little bit bland. I mean, episode 5. There are things about episode 5 that I thought were a little bit bland. And to some extent, it was supposed to be bland. Like, they were supposed to be... That walk through the museum, for example, is supposed to be boring.
I mean, I found that beginning part interesting, even though it had nothing to do with the episode. It was just interesting to... I guess this is a I can say. This would be a connection between episode 5 and 6 that I'm forcing.
No, I think that these episodes were put in this order for a reason. Like I said, with the motor ads, for example, introducing the concept of the motor ad so that they could pay it off in the next episode.
What I wanted to the connection, I think I'm gonna be forcing. Basically how Photo kind of had the end of her story, and then like the traveler that Kino learned about had the end to their story, but we were seeing at the very beginning of the episode. It's a traveler that he set up shop and found that pretty much didn't know anything about a president, made something. It's like something about the ending of the traveler's journey. Kind of was like, I wonder, like is this how Kino's gonna end her journey? Whenever she does get to the end of it, is how she's gonna end it. Whatever ending to her journey be, we probably won't know because they're not gonna end that. They're not gonna end the show with that. Seeing how we see two endings, two different people's journeys.
I mean, we don't know how it's actually going to end. We don't know, like, the other Kino's journey, and I haven't seen enough of these to have a good feeling for it. The other Kino's journey, like, wasn't in chronological order. The episodes didn't happen in chronological order. And that's something that I haven't seen. I don't know with these. I feel like these could be or could not be in chronological order, but, like, there doesn't seem to be a timeline to these episodes like there was in the originals. In the originals, there were certain things, like there was a point where she got a new gun, the gun with the sight, for example. And you see it in episode 2, but then in like episode 9 or something like that, you actually see her get it. And there's a few other things where she has possessions, and you can keep track of her possessions as one way to figure out what the actual order of when the episodes happen is. Do you know what I mean? Like when they happen in actual chronological canon order. And then there's other things where she makes references to things in episodes, and you know from that, you know what I mean, that they happen in different orders and stuff like that. Obviously, the one that is her origin story, which is like episode 5 or 6 or something like that, is the first episode if you were to put them in order. But in this one, I haven't seen any signs that it's built that way. It seems like all the episodes could go in any order at all, almost, and be. Yeah, they seem like sort of like disjointed tales. Like it doesn't seem like it tells us a big picture story like the other series did. What do you think? Like, do you get the sense that there's a chronological order to this that's important for telling a story?
Oh, I can't tell. I mean, I really didn't pay attention to that thing. Something blatantly, something blatantly pops up for me. I probably won't notice too much of a timeline unless something's blatantly obviously said. But what I was trying to get at, I mean, really quick, was like, it seems like these two episodes, the people that wasn't Kino had to enter their journey. But like in Kino, I think even Kino mentions that she knows she's gonna come up to the end of her journey at some point anyway, or maybe she doesn't. I don't know. But it just made me think about like, I wonder how Kino is gonna end her journey. I'm pretty sure we're not gonna see that in the anime, because I'm not sure how long the light novel or even the manga is going, or if they're still going on. I think we are. But
Really?
I don't think I saw an ending for the manga. Or like, I could be wrong. I thought maybe there was an ending.
I'll look it up. I'm kind of curious. I thought
As of November 2020, 23 volumes
2020,
have been
23 round,
published.
which means a volume hasn't been published in 5 years.
According to this, the light novel's still going on.
Where did you see that?
It's in the Wikipedia under the light novel.
That's kind of cool. So yeah, it'll probably go on for forever then. She's like it's like a Marvel superhero. Marvel superheroes don't die, but especially if the light novel follows the chronology of the original anime. Like if it's staying true, I don't know which one it's more true to, but like if it's like the original anime, it's telling the stories out of order anyway, so it can always fit like a new story in wherever it wants.
But the anime is coming from the light novel, so whatever the light novel's anime was.
Yeah, but the two versions of the anime are so drastically different that it's hard to be sure which approach is more true to the original light novel without having actually read them.
I'm pretty sure the original is probably more true. I could be wrong. Again, I don't know because I didn't really read anything or hear anything about this remake. I just think the remake is just being a remake. But
yeah.
But basically, these two episodes kind of chronologically, well, not chronologically, but they chronicled the end of two people's journeys at this point. So they just kind of made me think about like Kino. So I guess Kino might have been also thinking about it maybe at some points in her journey about when she doesn't know when she's gonna stop moving, but she'll keep moving for as long as she deems necessary. Also, I guess we're on a really quick thing too before the episode really does get into the episode, because before she leaves this town with the museum, she talks to a little boy who's an innkeeper, who's gonna become the innkeeper of the inn, but he doesn't want to. He was asking her how you become a traveler. It made me think about I guess in the original, because I don't know how they're going to do it this particular show, but like in the original, one thing I do remember is you definitely mentioned that she was an innkeeper, or was going to become one, because her town was, you grow up really fast for some really odd reason, but you grow up really fast and you take on the job of your parents. But she didn't want it. Well, at first she wanted to do it, then something happened, and then she didn't want to do it anymore. And then essentially she runs away and becomes an innkeeper. Not innkeeper, but she ends up running away and becoming a traveler. It's kind of interesting how she kind of points the kid in the direction of the now defunct Motorrad that's sitting in the museum. And we don't even see what happens. We just know that she said that. And I was thinking,
it's an interesting departure from the original series Kino, because the original series Kino would have not interfered. But it's one of the departures that I kind of liked. Partially because it's so hands off. Like she's just like, oh, you could do this, which is a little more true to the Kino from the original series when she did break her rule and kind of get involved. But also, I don't know. It just shows Kino being a good person. Like that's that's good. In that moment, I think she's being a good person. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not arguing that, but what I was taking her offhand comment of, you can go talk to the Motorrad and ask. It wasn't like she was telling him to jump on the bike and run away with it. She was just telling him to go talk to him and ask the question, because maybe he'll talk to him.
I thought I interpreted that as like she was helping him become a traveler.
I think there's two ways you could
because the motorcycle, if it did talk to him, would absolutely say, "Please take me with you." Yes, become a traveler. Please take me with you.
And I'm not arguing that won't happen, or that was just basically what she was kind of trying to do. But I was just taking it as she wasn't totally interfering. She was mostly just guiding the little boy, because she could tell. She wasn't going to tell him to go and become a traveler. She wasn't going to interfere in that way, but more like guiding him in the direction that he may want to go on. And the first direction of him getting out of here would be him needing transportation. So she just kind of just like nudges him in a direction, which is still interfering. I'm not gonna pretend it. I'm not even gonna try to fudge that. But it's like in a really offhand way. It's not really interfering. It's just mostly showing the kid there's another way to obtain what you want to do. If not wanting to be an innkeeper is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
In an interesting way, she's passing off what the traveler that she met, did for her in an offhanded way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though she's not interfering as much as she's interfering, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It was funny too because both these episodes made me think, oh, this is how travelers reproduce. God. Oh, she's making little travelers. She got a little slave traveler and a little innkeeper traveler. Oh, it's so cute.
Well, she never met Photo.
She never met Photo. But anyway, we get to see how travelers happen. And she sees a lot of travelers in this new series. She only saw one in the old. We've seen a variety of travel. Like every episode, she's seen at least one new traveler.
I mean, they don't shy away from in the first show where they saying that they have travelers come around.
She in the first show she comes across a caravan in episode 2. She comes across Shoto, which I would argue is not a traveler until he resolves the storyline at the end of Colosseum in both versions. He becomes a traveler afterwards because he's not going to stay in the country, but he's was royalty in that land that he returned to. So he's like he had a purpose that was more like he was on a mission more than a traveler, and until he resolved his storyline, and then had nothing left to do but become a traveler. But I think she comes off on the way into the Colosseum. She comes across the traveler that tells her that it's a great world and that she should visit it. A great country and she should visit it before she goes into the Colosseum, which is misleading and weird. I can't think of any other travelers in the whole series though, so most of them are in the Colosseum episode in the original. In this one, she comes across one every episode, pretty much. Because remember, even in the first episode, she meets that serial killer outside of the world where people can kill each other. He's traveling.
No, I get that. What I was saying, like in the first show, it wasn't like they were shying away from the idea that there were travelers around, even though we barely saw any.
Oh yeah, everybody knew of a traveler.
It's like people, like there were just that we didn't see a lot. I would say this is an interesting change that we're seeing a traveler pretty frequently. Except for the episode where she was on that moving city, there wasn't a traveler there. There's people talking, and telling this town's great. Even though we're decimating lots of land and we run through Russia, let's be real, that town was literally Russia.
Oh my god.
It was.
That's so rude.
Rude, but I'm right.
No comment. A rare no comment from
me. They gave that lieutenant, a Russian. Well, I'm gonna say it was a Russian accent. But I feel like it was a Russian accent. I feel like in the English though they were trying to get across that might have been Russia.
That's funny.
I think literally they were trying to give off the idea that was Russia. It was because I don't know what they were trying to do with the city that was moving, which is probably, as you said, progress. We already discussed this last week. I'm not trying to get done. I'm just saying that it's the world's wide. It's just one of those things. I don't think we saw a traveler. No, I guess you could consider Shoto the traveler that we saw that episode. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
No, was he there? I forget what episode. I forget what episode.
In that place? No, he was in the ship.
The ship is where they had their fight. So the ship was where they had their fight. Okay, so we didn't see a traveler during the moving city scene. But yeah, I mean, there was more. The idea is that there was more travelers that she's met, which I think is cool. More characters, more variety. I'll have to see the motorrad that is depressed. Apparently, it's a different voice, but He
The
get
little
past.
boy was a lot like Lily, who she meets, the innkeeper girl that she meets in the last episode of the previous version of this anime. Lily was reminded Kino of herself, and that was the one place in the original that she thought about staying for more than 3 days was there. And part of it was because of her deep connection with Lily, and how it was also because everybody there was so nice. But um, she was ultimately she didn't stay there for 3 days either because of the storyline of the thing. The villagers would not allow her to stay. Basically, to keep a long story short, um, they were glad to have her. They were nice the whole time, but based on the, I'll just tell you the story. Um, in that world, the country that she visited in the last episode of the first Kinos journey, she meets an innkeeper there. But the country, when she goes there, they had a reputation for shunning travelers and sending away visitors and being really mean and antisocial. And she had heard that, but she went anyway to see what it was like because she's Kino. And when she got there, she was surprised to see that everybody, like, she told them she'd stay for 3 days. Which, when she tells them that, the people in the country seem very relieved that she's only staying 3 days, and then they become very friendly and they show her all their customs and traditions and welcome her, and you know what I mean, just treat her like royalty practically. But what really draws her is Lily, the little girl that is an innkeeper that is just so happy to see her and that Kino sees a lot of herself in. And so she feels such a connection to this little girl that she decides that she'd stay a little bit longer. But then when she says that, the people, the citizens, act a little bit hostile and sketchy about it. And then she says, "Okay, maybe I better leave after all." And just as she is leaving, a volcano erupts and destroys the whole country. The lava comes down and just destroys the whole country, and it shocks Kino. And the reason they had sent her away, and acted hostile when she wanted to stay longer, was because they knew that that was going to happen, but they didn't want to tell her. And what they'd sent her with was like they were actually a country that was hostile to travelers before that, and they sent her away. But there was like their last chance to change their reputation and the way they were remembered. They wanted to be remembered as a nice country, so they had like been extra nice to her. And they sent her away with a bunch of historical artifacts and mementos about them and stuff like that that she could remember them by. And they explained the whole thing in a letter. You know, after they died, they said, "We're sorry, we didn't want you to die with us. Please remember our country for us, you know, because we're not going to be there anymore." So that was the only place, but that was, of all the things that happened in the entire original anime, meeting Lily was the most impactful for her. Like, it had the biggest impact on her. So it was interesting that they show that little homage, which I doubt there'll be an actual Lily in this series, given that they have that the innkeeper boy. But it's interesting that they had that little homage there, where like she gets to meet another character that's just a little bit like Lily, and they brush it off. You know what I mean? They don't explore it fully. And I thought it was really interesting. So, yeah, I thought that little kid was sort of interesting, like little side note that they just did a little quick nod to that moment in her life, which I'm sure was in the anime, which was in the novelization too, and was like a big impact, like a big moment in the novelization because they had a whole episode in the original anime about it.
Hmm. I think we're gonna get like a backstory on Kino, and we'll probably have a Lily, but it probably won't be in the same way. I agree with you there that they probably won't have another Lily like that would be impactful, but I feel like there'll be another Lily. I feel like maybe it won't be named Lily, but it'll be another character. Um,
Yeah.
Moving on from
Well,
that,
that's what I thought that kid might have been, like just a little nod at that, you know.
I guess I mean we'll have to see. It's possible he might. I mean, it'd be fun if we saw him again. I think we will. But
Mm. It was interesting. The original Kino, they say it a lot of times that her name before she became Kino, because remember, Kino's not her actual name, it's the name of the traveler that died to save her life. The name, her original name, she says, I forget what it was, but I remember that it was the name of a flower that, if said in a certain way, was also a terrible insult. And she was picked on because of her name. And at the beginning of the episode with Lily, she notices the kids are going, Lily, silly, Willy, nilly, Lily, and they're like making fun of her name with a bunch of things that rhyme with it. So that made me wonder if Kino's original name was Lily, like English translation. I'm sure there's a Japanese translation for it that's much better. Or if it's not Lily, it at least reminded her of her name that was a flower, because Lily's a flower. So the fact that they don't have that whole foreshadowing through the whole series like they did last time, I think that you're also supposed to be able to figure out what flower it is in the original series, because in one moment, she falls in a big field of flowers, and I forget how, but you somehow know that the flowers that she's in a big field of are the flower that she was named after. But I don't know what those flowers are named. I never figured that out or looked it up.
I know there's no way Google was gonna give me, flowers and negative meanings.
ChatGPT might be able to answer the question, but I'm not gonna look it up right now.
I was looking at something and I was trying to figure out whatever it could have been. Here's a thing that stuck out. There's a name here that stuck out to me. Specifically, Black Delilah or Dahlia. You know,
Dahlia.
Dahlia. It's Black Dahlia, but that kind of stuck out to me as like a name that they could give a girl.
It sort of sounds like Delilah.
Like that could have been her name.
Yeah,
but I don't think you would have given her the same name as a character. They could have, but
I think it almost definitely had some specifically Japanese significance that we wouldn't just not know the reference to, because you have to be Japanese to get it.
I'm just looking up things that have like negative meanings.
Yeah.
Apparently, black roses have negative meanings. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, is there such a thing as a black rose, or is it like roses that are dyed black? I feel like that's the answer.
The flowers commonly called black roses do not really exist in set color. Instead, they actually have a dark shade, such as black magic.
Okay.
Black roses.
So I'm going to read the summary of episode 5. We've spent a lot of time on it without reading the summary, and I have some questions for you about things I didn't understand about the actual chronology of the episode. Kino and Hermes visit a country's memorial hall to a modest traveler who overthrew its corrupt government and became its first president. They see the former traveler's belongings inside, including his motorrad, which depressingly tells them it wants to be ridden or at least destroyed, but Kino declines both requests. As she leaves, Kino encounters a young boy who wishes to travel, and she suggests that he should talk to the motorrad inside the memorial hall. At the next country, Kino is approached by a former policeman inquiring about his lover who left 5 years ago. Over dinner, Kino is told that the former policeman led a revolution to remove a tyrant in which he killed the royal family by destroying their car. However, he learned his lover was a princess who died in the blast. Unable to accept her death, he was told that she had gone on a journey, a lie maintained by the whole country to protect him. His traveling housekeeper is later revealed to be the former princess, as the people killed in the blast were body doubles. Before Kino's and Hermes departs, the former policeman is happy with the life he has chosen. So there were a lot of things about this episode that I didn't actually 100% understand. The first was the point of the first country that she goes to. Like, did you understand why that was part of the episode?
No, not really. I thought it was random.
For a long time after I watched the first, because I was watching the first episode, and it's called Country of Liars, and they lie in both countries. So I had a difficult time understanding that they were separate countries, even, because I thought she was still in the Country of Liars because everybody was still lying. And
wait a minute.
On top of that, what?
I don't know why you're talking just now, Spot. So, Country of Liars. Um, Now I'm pretty sure there were different countries, but maybe there were two countries lying for different reasons. Or like for one,
Yeah.
like the first country was lying specifically because I mean Hermes kind of just outright called a lot of what they were saying bull. Um, not in such a
But there were such little lies in the first country. It was just like, oh, there's like we made a little folksy story about this guy, and it's not all true.
yeah, but the thing is like the lie that they were doing there was for the good of their country versus like keeping it, you know, keeping people wanting to visit and stuff like that. It was a lie. It was a lie for their sake.
Yeah.
But the second
But
country
it was
we
such a
saw,
stupid lie because she's like, this shovel he used to plant plants along the way, and they're like,
let's be
isn't that used to shovel shit?
let's
And
be real here.
Kino's like, you didn't have to put it that way, you know.
Let's be real here. Both countries were really dumb lies. Like I said this before when we were talking. I couldn't live in the second country because like, you
The
couldn't
second
trust
country's
anybody.
lies were just the second country's lies were just batshit insane.
But they were like, it wasn't even just that they're insane. It was just like it was so, it was so complicated because this is the first country was one straight lie. The second country it was a lie into a lie into a lie, and it was all just to keep everybody happy or at least not even happy, just like okay, because like basically the country was made by the one dude who I don't remember his name now, but like he was a part of like the revolution that managed to change the laws of the land. And there was like a bomb.
From the first country you're talking right now?
Not the first country, the second country.
Okay.
The dude who was waiting for his girlfriend, who was right there with him the entire time, but he said in a minute. But like he was pretty much, you know, there was a war and like his side won. They almost didn't win because the girlfriend who wasn't his girlfriend because she was lying to him to get information for her king, her father, only for her to fall in love, and then she faked her death. So he believes she's dead. And the country is basically, you know, feels obligated because like, you know, so for him they would be a different world right now. So they're lying to him saying that, you know, she's gonna come back. In reality, they believe she's dead because she faked her death, basically lying to the village. I didn't realize there was a lie there that she was having to the village, but I just came up with that just now. Like,
What?
the village thinks she's dead, when in reality, like, she's alive. The princess that they think is dead is alive, but the village doesn't know that. Because the lie is that she died, and that's what the lie that they believe, and they're lying to the guy, I guess the president, whatever, of the second country. You know, like that she'll come back because he's in love with her. But basically, they don't know she's alive, so she's lying to them. She's lying to her boyfriend, um, being his like his keeper, and she's doing it. She's lying to him because she's happy where she's at with him right now. Because
And then the final
he doesn't
twist
know.
is that he does know.
Yeah, this is like where this is all
He knows that
complicated.
she's lying to him, and he's never called her out on it and said, "Look, it's, you know, they could have sex if you just be like, yo, like I know you're lying. It's fine. Let's just hide it from everybody else."
You know, I'm not gonna lie. After that was revealed, I literally said, "Just bone already."
Right. I knew that they had a love interest like the first time they put both of them on the screen. I was like, "Oh, that's not good. She likes him."
Well, my thing was,
Before I
had
even
a
knew the
feeling-
story, I was like waiting to see what their connection was going to be.
I had a feeling the girl was the girlfriend, and that she was lying to him. What caught me off guard was that he knew, and he was playing her, and she doesn't even know it. And I'm like, this country is just horrible. I couldn't live here. You couldn't have a friend here because like you would know that they were lying to you. It's the same thing with like a relationship because they just proved it. You can't date anybody here because you don't know they're lying. I mean, yeah, it was sweet at the end of all this because like they were lying for each other's benefit. It's basically what this entire country was doing, was lying for each other's benefit. Unlike the other country, we're just lying for you know, self benefit at that point. But it was just like I didn't even realize there was lies happening in the first one until like you brought it up that apparently there was lies happening in the first country we saw, and I was like, I'm trying to figure out what this country was, what was the point of her being in this country and leaving so fast. But the second country, I couldn't live in that second country. I was bringing that up, like it's too much lying. There's nothing happening. I mean, and I get that they're doing it for each other's benefit, but it's just too complicated. It's way too complicated because everybody's in on a lie. At one point, there's no one who's innocent. Everybody's in on a lie somewhere in this country. And the worst part is the girl's gonna die thinking that he doesn't recognize her. Which was also an interesting thing brought up. She was like, I'm actually kind of curious how he didn't realize that it was her because they were dating, so there's no way he didn't recognize her face. But in reality, no, he definitely did recognize. He was just lying to her so he doesn't feel bad for betraying him all those years ago with like being a spy. It's too complicated. They're in this. The existence of this country is too complicated. Like no wonder they almost went to war with each other. On the inside, I mean.
Right.
I feel like there's no simplicity of it, to any of it at all. And it was interesting. That was interesting to me in an interesting way of like, oh, this is how a country function. I want nothing to do with this.
At the same time, do you think that people lie to each other on a pretty regular basis anyway?
I think, depending on who you
Is this an exaggerated version of what happens in real life anyway? That people just lie to each other all the time?
I think depending on
And
who
the people
you
like live with those lies too and accept them and like be like, I know you're lying to me, but it's like we're gonna live with it. Like if someone's like a Trump supporter and you're just like, I'm gonna pretend I don't know and we're gonna pretend like we don't talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it. For example.
First of all, we would have cut the person and you wouldn't be talking, period.
But I mean, if you thought someone might be a Trump supporter and like say it was a family member or something, you might just be like, I'm just gonna like not ask. You know what I mean? I don't want to know. If they are, I don't want to know.
I mean, it depends on who you are, the people, the relationships you have, depending on how important those relationships are, and depending on like how you knowing what the truth would do to said relationship. I think people tell lies. Some people just keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
And some people know it that they're being lied to, but they realize that calling them out on this might not be the best idea.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just like this town this village. It's too complicated. Like maybe if it was a one lie or two lies going back and forth, no, the entire town is in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is an exaggeration, but still, it's just one of those things. Like it's way too complicated. There's no way you can keep a lie that big going, because you would like the amount of people that would need to be involved in keeping that lie going is ridiculous.
But at the same time, I feel like that's true. Like, there's all sorts of like lies that are just celebrated for ages and ages, though, aren't there?
I'm personally gonna abstain. I'm pretty sure there are. I mean, there's no telling. No way to tell either way. You can assume the other at the expense. You can assume one thing at the expense of the other. Both ways can be, argued in a court of law. I don't know where that came from. Just
What are you talking about?
What? You didn't know you were in Judge Judy's court?
What?
I'm sorry. Like, I couldn't take myself seriously. I was like, you didn't know you were in Judge Judy's court?
No, I had no idea. But I think that's the question of the episode is exploring is like how much do we live in, like, you know, they're exaggerating it, making the stylized world that Kino's journey is, but at the same time I think they're asking like what you know, what's going on here, like what is the how often do we live these things? Like my brother, right up until like 5 years ago, thought that Columbus, in the time of Columbus, people thought the world was flat. You know that's not true, right? You know that when Columbus was around, people didn't think the world was flat. Are you still there?
No, I'm still here. I'm just trying not to let you know how dumb I am.
Well, it's not true. The Greeks accurately calculated that the world was round and its circumference with like something like 95% accuracy. They didn't do it perfectly, but they had a pretty good idea of the exact size of the world since Greek times. And then we refined it a little bit with science as science got better.
Okay.
And then
I'm gonna take that as fact. But here's my problem with what you just said to me. Was like, if that was true, where did the flat earthers come from? Because that doesn't make any sense.
Flat earthers never made sense in the first place, dude. But flat earthers never made sense. So,
but here's my thing is like, if that is true, we have a globe and everything like that. The flat earthers shouldn't exist because if the Greeks themselves are the ones that mapped out an entire planet, they have access to that information. So like, that's what I'm trying to figure. Like, I feel like there must have been a group of people during, and it had to have been during Christopher Columbus's time. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but you said flat earthers don't make sense. So I feel like they could still exist during that time. And a part of me really believes that Christopher Columbus was one of them. but I'm like, I don't have enough information to stand on that principle, so I'm not. Like, I'm stepping off of the pedestal for thinking that, you know, they thought flat earthers were around it. It just, I don't know, understand, like the whole idea of a flat earther in my mind is that they don't know the world was round. So it's like, there's no way that there is like a physical representation of the earth, and they were ignoring it. But then again, as you said before, they don't make sense. It's just one of those, like, I feel like you couldn't ignore the physical representation of the planet, but whatever.
Right. So that was the thing. Like, so how did we come to the place where we thought Christopher Columbus thought the world was flat? And the fact is that it's the exact same thing that happened in that first World of Lies, where they had the founder of the country, and, you know, they come in and they make up all this crap, and something to, you know, it was Johnny Appleseed, even though his shovel was to scoop poop, you know what I mean, and all that stuff. Like, they made up this whole like thing to make him sound virtuous and wonderful.
Hey,
and
is Johnny Appleseed not real?
Johnny Appleseed is real, but the point was that like they made him like a folk hero. Do you know what I mean? Like he was like this folk hero character that like even though he wasn't, you know what I mean?
Lie, I never thought he was a folk hero. Honestly, this is me being real here.
Yeah.
I don't think I learned about Johnny Appleseed maybe 5 years ago, maybe even less. I'm being honest. I don't think I ever heard of this man's name, and I only really heard of this man's name through a podcast, not ours, but through a podcast where he brought it up in a joking like situation. I forgot like where I'm looking for, stand-up, whatever. They're in their stand-up, and they brought him up. You know, the guy planting apple tree seeds everywhere, and wondering where they all were. I didn't even know that guy existed. I literally had to look that up and figure out like, oh, there was a dude that literally ran across the country and planted seeds. What? But okay, moving on. Just wanted to point that out. Again, that's how dumb I am.
So anyway, people believed Christopher Columbus was a thing. You know what I mean? Like they believed Christopher Columbus was like going to fall off the side of the earth and everything else, and that whole mythology. But it's not true. And you know what I mean? They built the whole story of the like America around that. You know what I mean? This brave story. When actually the reason he had so much trouble finding people that would give him a ship was because they correctly said, look, this trip, as far as we know, there's no continent there. There's just a shit ton of ocean. They thought there was an ocean as big as the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and the whole of the United States was also ocean. And they're like, there's no way you're going to get a ship across all of that without dying. Which was very true, because by the time he got to the United States, they were already ready to mutiny. You know what I mean? It was already like the end of it, like they were ready to mutiny, and like everybody was starving and about to die. If it was even a little bit farther away, they would have all died.
Good question about Christopher Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that I'm thinking about this correctly. I know one of the reasons why he set out, well, like one of the reasons why he had many reasons for setting out into the ocean, but one of the reasons was, I believe he was trying to enslave at least what I believe that he thought were Asians at the time, because I think he was heading in he was supposed to be heading in the direction of India. Unfortunately, he didn't, because he was really bad at directions. But he was intending.
He thought he landed in India. That's why he called them Indians.
Well, that means he was heading in the direction of India. Unfortunately, because somewhere along the line, he was heading for a direction for some people, ended up also landing in Africa, and ended up enslaving them instead of the people he was intending to enslave.
Columbus never really made it to the mainland United States. He died in what did he land in Puerto Rico or something like that, and he died there. He never even made it to the mainland United States. I don't think he would have thought he could enslave Asians, because Asia was like pretty much the Europe's military equal.
I don't think, because here's the thing, I don't think, I mean, this is just getting into things I don't really know, or I think I did know, but like, I feel like now I need to know who discovered Africa then, because I feel like the discovery of Africa was a complete accident, and it's what essentially led to them being enslaved. Because again, they didn't know Africa was even out there until they discovered it.
No, they would have known about Africa. It's right there.
I feel like that was offensive, but I don't think it was at the same time.
No, it wasn't a racist joke. Africa was right there. Like, all mankind came from Africa. Like, they knew about Africa.
I'm just gonna find a way to figure out like if they were intending to slave blacks back then, but I can't find any proof that they weren't, and I can't find any proof that they did. Well, they were.
Columbus had slaves.
Not talking about trying to enslave Africa.
That's why people don't want there to be Columbus Day, because he was a slaver.
Not just talking about slaving the Africans, period, not owning a slave. And I know that they were slaves. That's what I was saying. Is they wanted more. They wanted more. They wanted more manual labor, but they didn't want to do it. So they brought in an entirely separate group of people. But I don't know if they were intending to enslave Africans at the time. Eventually, they did anyway, because that's what happened. But still, it was just. I don't know if that was their initial intent.
I would entirely believe that they were that they intended to slave Africans. I just don't think they would have tried to enslave Asians, because I don't think you mess with Asians.
I feel like they would have, because like if he thought he landed in India, that makes me believe that he was heading for India. That's my belief. That could be that could be wrong, all the way wrong. But that's my belief. I thought, because like you wouldn't think the land you landed on to be a country unless you were heading that direction to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's like, why would you think the land you landed on was India? Besides the fact that you didn't think this was even out here.
Because you made a horrible miscalculation about how big the Earth is and thought that you had sailed across the other side of the Earth and that you were the first one.
I still don't think you would literally call the land that you landed on without you really even seeing anything on there. It's like it's one thing to land in Asia specifically, and specifically China. They would have probably have been built out a pretty big piece of land at that point.
Yeah.
But the United States wasn't even a country. There was nothing there but Native Americans.
Yeah. So I think Columbus thought something brown people, saw brown people and thought they must be Indians because he's racist and thinks they all look the same.
This makes me believe, I think he was trying to enslave Asians. Yeah, but what actually happened is he did the complete opposite. But I feel like his intent was supposed to be the complete opposite of what he ended up doing. Well, I don't know if he enslaved Africans, because that's a whole different story. But I feel like his intent was to enslave some Asians, maybe not all of them, maybe specific ones. I mean, what I'm saying is obviously racist, and I don't mean it to be, but it's been something in my mind ever since all the information over the years about the giant passage, voyage that they took to get over here in the first place. Something's always kind of bewildered me about like how Africans got enslaved, because Africa it was a quote unquote developing nation even back then, and as far as I know, there were tribes and stuff like that. They had civilizations, the best you could call a civilization back then, about the money back then. And that's kind of what happened, is tribe leaders sold off their own. So it just tells me, like, I don't know what happened. Something happened that was an unintended consequence of Europeans traveling across the world. But with that being said, actually, we're almost at 12 o'clock here. You got anything else to add on to the review, or?
No, the whole Columbus thing was just to point out that we have a lot of lies that we tell ourselves too that are just as ridiculous as some of the stuff they talked about. Like, we literally pretend the world was flat when people didn't think it was flat.
I don't know, some of those people were pretending.
Well, yeah, because now they sort of believe it. Like that lady in the episode that ran the museum probably believes that stuff is true. But it just shows how much we're willing to believe, you know what I mean, for a lie that is like convenient for us. So I think it kind of like, on one side it's really absurd, and the other side, like, we believe some really stupid stuff.
I know sometimes some of that stuff gives people hope when there's no other way to get that hope. But with that being 12 o'clock, we're edging close to some things, so I'm gonna end it here. We're gonna review in 2 more weeks episodes 7 and 8. I don't know what those are, but I guess I'll find out, and hopefully I will stop ranting about voices that sound the same. There's always something with me and the bikes in this show. Why do I bother coming back?
They're cursed. They're cursed bikes for you.
Yeah, no,